Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Carl Haley, a member of the CK-12 team, and welcome to our webinar today, Ask Me Anything, a conversation with Neeru Khosla. As many of you know, Neeru is the co-founder and the executive director here at the CK-12 Foundation. We're really glad that you all joined us for this exciting conversation, and Neeru is all set to go with Ask Me Anything. So let's get Neeru on here, and we'll get to the first question. So the first one is, the person that's asking the question is really interested in finding out about the beginning of CK-12 and how it's evolved.
First of all, I'm really thrilled to be here, and I'm happy to see that there are some people who are interested in the future of CK-12. CK-12 was actually created to help students to learn, to reduce the cost, and then make teachers' life easier. And that's something that we have been trying to take care of for the last 11 years. The thing that, I really want people to understand that a lot of what we do is a build-up on what you see in the past and what's possible today. So if you think about the technology that we have to offer, we are trying to offer you that, build things out of that so you could have a much easier life in your teaching world. So when we started, we actually started thinking about how might we take a printed book and be able to put it on a digital version. So this was basically digital conversion of the print material. That's how we started. But not only, we didn't stop there. What we said that even if we give you that printed version, which is standards aligned, which is useful for everybody in the 50 states as well as internationally, we decided that we were going to give you the customization tools that digital makes possible, that technology makes possible. So from the very get-go, we've been trying to provide you that capability. So digitization, customization, and pretty soon we realized some of the things that are conducive to students learning is smaller content, much more modalities, much more practice. So we brought in not only digital practice, we actually made it adaptive practice. And over the years, we now kind of built at a back end that's very, very strong, very, very robust. The back end consists of knowledge pathways of how learning happens in the foundational level, and which is what K-12 is all about. We focused on math and science because unfortunately it's easier to do math and science with technology at that time, and also because my background is in science. And so from there, we created a way to give you, with the ability to be able to give you through the machine learning world, we could give you real feedback in real time. And this is all based on a lot of the information that we know about the students as they interact with our platform. So really, in the end, I want you to understand that this is going to be a complete platform, and it's going to be able to give you a lot of information to help you to know your student, which I'm sure you all really know, but we want to make that happen much faster and take some of that burden off of you. But the one thing that we cannot change is that you have to use the system for us to be able to help you do that.
All right. I can see we have a number of people that have just joined us, so I'll repeat once again. We are here having a conversation with Neeru Khosla, Executive Director and co-founder of CK-12. A couple of people submitted a very similar question, Neeru, which is, why is CK-12 focused on STEM?
Yeah, so it's for no other reason Number one, because I feel much more comfortable with that. My background, like I said, I was a molecular biologist. I was doing research on cancer genes at Stanford when I became pregnant with my first child. And it was that moment that I realized that I could not be around radioactivity. And that's why I gave up my first career. But my more meaningful career became education and helping students in their journey to learn. The reason being science and math is because it forms a huge component of humanity's race to survive in the physical world, and we have to understand where we're living, what happens in this world. So part of it that is that, and in general, I think students do not understand fundamentally what science and math can do for them. So our emphasis at CK-12 is not just that it's math and science, but it is based on real world examples. So wherever we can, we try and give you real world examples so that students can actually understand, I get it. These very abstract concepts are really hard for young kids to understand. So we try and make it so that this becomes, the day-to-day vocabulary, day-to-day thinking, the day-to-day immersion. So this is why we do math and science. But to be honest with you, I know there was a webinar just before this one that talked about non-science subjects. There's a lot of content that's been produced on our website. We've had over 200,000 flexbooks created in various subjects, and many of them are subjects that we don't provide for. And those are non-science literature and governance and all kind of non-science subjects. This coming August, we are going to make available or surface a lot of these books that are non-science and non-math related subjects that people can start using that others have created.
Great. One of the other really popular questions that people have asked is, what is the future of CK-12? And I think our users out there today would really like to hear, where are you going?
Oh boy. So when we started about in 2007, no, I don't think we could have predicted that we would be doing machine learning, or we would be doing artificial intelligence, or be able to give you feedback right at that time. Initially, a lot of the effort at that time was about saving you cost, because the cost was just phenomenally out of control through the publisher models. It's a business model. So one of the things that we decided on was to help with the cost. But once you embark on any journey and you start taking one step at a time, you have the road that opens up and you don't even know what's coming up on that road. So in some sense, going forward, we are very bullish on how we use technology. As technology evolves, through the efforts of many other players in this field, we'll be able to provide those functionalities to you. Right now, what we have is a full platform, and we've taken great pains. I mean, we have an outstanding team that has now produced not just written text, we actually have videos, we actually have all kind of other modalities that actually support. We know how students learn to a large extent. It just doesn't happen by reading one thing. It just doesn't happen by watching a video. It doesn't happen through practice only. There's a combination of these things that happen that we need to make sure we keep providing as we learn. So we are also very excited about doing experiments, trying out new things. At the time when we started this program where we were going to train people, it is very expensive to train people. And I asked the team, hey, let's create a way that we can train teachers to use CK-12 not only will it help them, use CK-12, that's a selfish thing, but it also makes the teachers more comfortable with technology, because CK-12 is quite a technical platform. So, for us, as we go forward, you will see a lot more of this kind of additions that will help you make your life easier. Things like class capability, Google single sign-on with Google, Schoology, Canvas, you name it. A lot of these platform LMSs that make your life easy will be integrating. We have integrated with all these. So I think the field is wide open. We are here to stay as long as people want to use us, and we will be doing a lot more of giving you information, how your students are doing, how your content's working, what do you need to do next, we have a great recommendation system that can tell you where the students are missing, so you can help them to go back and they don't feel ashamed to go back. So we'll be adding a lot more learning and teaching conducive things.
Great. We have a question from the Q&A window here. Is CK-12 a free learning platform, or in the future will be a subject for some kind of school subscription?
Well, the commitment with CK-12 from day one was to help save costs so that students can have access to really quality stuff, not just any content access to. And that's something, if you look for backwards in history, we have continuously improved. We have continuously added new things that help you. The uptake on a lot of these things are slow, but we're okay with that, because we know it takes a lot of time to get people to be comfortable with what we offer. That commitment is going to be something that we live up to. Yes, it is going to be free.
Yeah, and I think that's really good for people to hear, because it is the number one question we all get asked at CK-12 is, okay, this is going to be free until when, and when are you going to start charging me, especially when they see how the quality is so good. All right, we're going to go on now, and let's talk about what could CK-12 do better?
Sorry. That's a huge question. I mean, that's a question I keep asking the team and myself all the time, whether it's CK-12 as an organization or CK-12 as individuals who offer their skills to CK-12 and all the students and teachers in the world. I think one thing that we have to get better at is really spreading our own name. I'm not much of a marketeer. I don't toot my own horn. And what would be really wonderful is if, many people could help us and say, hey, this is really good tools. This is good platform. That is one thing that we could do really, really, that's the number one thing we can do better at this time. You'll see in August, when we started this project, we started it like an open source project, which meant that open educational resources project, which meant that, we were offering you any which way you could use this content, but we contextualize it under standards and subjects itself. Now we've been asked over the last few years, hey, I don't have time to go through and create my own things. Can you please give us somewhere we can start with? So coming with August, and I know some of you were at the webinar that Miral Cha, our CTO, did with the Flexbook 2.0. So the Flexbook 2.0 is coming in August, and that's going to give you a 1 year worth of grade-based content. And, so I guess we keep doing things. We keep hearing what you want, what your needs are, and we keep trying to make those happen. So there are so many things that we try to do for everybody, and that sometimes costs a navigation nightmare for people trying to use it. So this is one of the reasons we've gone ahead and created course-based content that's coming in August, the Flexbook 2.0. So, you know, with the 30 people trying to do work of, I don't know how many people there are, it's just not possible to do Microsoft level or Google kind of things, but you know, we're matching it pretty well. And if you have any suggestions, I'm always looking for suggestions from, and I know our team is always looking for suggestions. So I really would appreciate it. And perhaps you could send my email on the chat. Okay, so thank you.
All right. One of the next questions was sent to us yesterday by one of our people pursuing the Certified Educator Program, and it's, what's CK-12's place in the EdTech market?
So that's a kind of a pretty big question. Like I said earlier, we are a full platform. We are teacher, student, we help teachers and students, and our, I keep getting told by most business people, why don't you focus on one thing? You can't focus on everything. And I said, my answer to them is, if you want to be in education and in technology, you've got to provide different things for different people. That's why we have simulations, we have interactive content, we have adaptive practice, we have ability to customize not only the content but the questions, so you can take care of your own students per se. And so our place is not just curriculum. We're actually, our philosophy is we want to help the teacher's life become easier. We want to engage the student to want to learn more. And that's really where I believe we lie in the EdTech market. And we're unique because all this we provide for free.
All right. From the Q&A window, does CK-12 have plans on making CK12.org an open platform? For example, that third parties may want to connect to the platform via open APIs so that content can be used in their own apps.
That's actually a great question. We do have APIs today that can be used. Third parties can use them. You can actually get permission from us. It is open. But the problem right now is that the problem of sustainability over long period. We would love to help people start businesses as long as they also share with us, so we can continue to improve what we offer and kind of have it be added to third parties. We have partnered with many companies. Nearpod was one of them. We had Amplify was another one of them, if you remember. I don't think they're doing anything much now except for content play. But this has been something that if you have anything in mind, please do reach out, and we'd love to have a conversation.
Great. Another question from the Q&A window is, one of my concerns has always been the ease which teachers can modify and edit content. Is there any entity within CK-12 that oversees that?
This is such a fantastic question, because this is the core on which CK-12 started. We said we were going to give you content that was done through a process very similar to the publisher's process, which means there were writers, there was editors, there was illustrators, and there were domain experts working with the writers. But the problem occurs when we do try to have customization, modification, or editing of the content. So one thing that, we did take some precautions. So the master copy, that's the CK-12 content, stays the master content. When you edit or modify that, that goes into your own library, and that doesn't get public unless you do it. You want to share it with the world in your own name. We haven't been able to manage or monitor any of the produced content, primarily because it's a user-generated content, and when you use user-generated content, we are not taking, we're not backing that. We are backing what we produce. But, really, if you think about this, what happens in a classroom? In a classroom, the teacher is constantly modifying content, perhaps not in a way that they share, but every lesson plan, they will take content from here, there, and everywhere, and they'll modify it. There's no quality control there. So in a sense, we haven't really done anything about that, but I would love to challenge as many people who use CK-12 to create groups that will, kind of give feedback on the content that's created by the users. If you need any special, features built in that, we'll be very happy to do that, as long as, if you kind of get in and think about what you'd like to do. I'd love to open that up for the community itself.
Great. So the next question is, someone's curious about if more content is being planned, produced by CK-12. A lot of what I've seen seems to be more for secondary, and I like math for elementary is what they say. So I see there's been some science for elementary added, but I can't access it in my page. Is it still being addressed, and where are you going with new content?
Okay, so we've been producing content now for the last 11 years. And, it's not that we repurpose the same content. We actually go through and look at what are the new things. We look at, what we could do to make it more attractive, what new examples we can put in. We are soon going to be, producing in biology disease-based concepts, so that what are some of the things that are happening in the content in itself that end up in a disease. I'm very interested in that myself, because given my background. So that at the level of middle school and high school, we are going to be producing that. In terms of elementary school content, one of my worries about elementary school content was that we really did not want students in pre-K to 5th grade sitting in front of a computer all the time and getting addicted to it. So one of the reasons we have purposely not done much on that is because of that reason. And to be honest with you, K-5 is a pre-K to 5 or K-5, whichever way you want to take it, is a lot more regulated. And I think that's where you need lots of freedom to kind of teach little kids in ways that's much more balanced and much more based on their passion. So what I'd like to offer, and I think I'm hoping somebody said it earlier, or maybe I did in in my messages, is to really encourage. I want the community to step forward. So I would like that to kind of have community step forward and say, we will be able to do this. What CK-12 will promise to do is to create the illustrations and the practice, adaptive practice for the young kids. I don't think we need to have too many modalities for young kids. So if you could create content, even in different languages. I see someone's here from UAE. So if you could do, in your own language, maybe, Ahmed, you could create some of the content in your language. Take the content that we have and purpose it in your language, and then we can help you create other stuff around it. So we're open to that. And reach out to us if you want to do this. So elementary content, help us do it. We'll be right there with you. So anything else you want, please start doing it, because now with 30 or 40 people, it becomes impossible to do everything. We have people in Germany, we have people in Korea, we have people in Portuguese, in Brazil, who are translating all this adaptive practice into their own languages. That helps us a lot, and beyond that, it helps the world a lot more. All those kids who can't afford it. So, let's get together as community. Somebody has, we're thinking of doing Phenomena Day in October. Join us. We're going to produce all the as many phenomena as we can through the community. And remember, we are never going public and never going to charge for this stuff. So it's not about that. It's about being a community organization for the community.
Great. The next question comes from the Q&A window, which I think is a really interesting one. He asked, aren't the major publishers trying to keep CK-12 from being able to use materials instead of paying all that money to textbook companies?
I can't speak for that. I do remember when I first started and I would be presenting that I would see people from different publishers, and I was thinking maybe they're wondering, what is this little old lady going to be able to do? But you know what we do at CK-12? We just keep getting better. We keep improving. We learn, we make mistakes, and we keep doing it. So any suggestions from our users? I mean, I really, truly want to create a community that will help not just CK-12, but everyone else. Wikipedia stopped at pretty much at text. CK-12 is going to be much more contextualized, useful, usable content. So help us make it there, even just by using it.
I think there's a really good question here, and it's, what are the main obstacles that inhibit the fulfillment of your mission?
Oh, yeah. I can speak for the last 11 years. This is our 12th year. I've been saying that this whole talk. But one of the big problems we've had is teachers' mindsets. You get so used to, actually, maybe that mindset is something that's been force of habit. If you don't take the money for your printed textbooks to buy from the district or the state, you will lose that. I know Governor Schwarzenegger stepped in and said, for a few years, he allowed Californians to use that money for other things other than printed textbooks. So those kind of policy changes will have to be made before teachers really can change their, take the risk of using CK-12. It is the mindset that, free cannot be excellent or useful. And we are trying so hard to displace that. We know there are so many free things that are so unimaginably wonderful. So I think the mindset and teachers not sharing CK-12 with their colleagues. It surprises me that there aren't more and more sharing going on about CK-12 through whatever platforms that you use as teachers. It will be just fantastic if you guys start spreading the word that we are true to our mission.
All right. A lot of teachers wonder, how can I help CK-12? And so what would be the thing that could make the greatest difference in helping CK-12 get better at what it does?
You know, this is my favorite thing of everything else, because we are, imagine just these 30 people by themselves have been so passionately committed, coming in every day, working on things that needed to be worked on. Sometimes some of the load people have taken on has been phenomenal. I come in every day. I don't pay myself for my work because I strongly believe in this. One thing that I'd like to do is really honestly have the teachers step up. Have the teachers say, this is our, this is for us. This is for our students. And so one of the ways to help us there are very many ways to help us, not just by, kind of volunteering your efforts. There are a few things that I've been dreaming about. Use the digital content on CK-12 regularly in whichever way you can, because that will improve our offerings. Give us feedback. I think Katie and Lindsay did talk about the pilots. Please sign up for pilots if you're interested this coming year. Press the publish button. It's really important that if you've created something, share it with the world. Do not be afraid. What's going to happen? People are going to help improve it if there's anything wrong with it. I know teachers are very careful about their image. We've all stood in front of, pretty much, I might say, if I don't offend anyone, we're naked in our abilities, what we're offering you. We're saying, give us feedback. We're saying, tell us what we're doing wrong so we can correct that. And so, take that risk. Put CK-12 on your website, so that there's linkage there. That help us, get a word out there. Simple. Ask your schools, districts, hey, we'd like to put the CK-12 website URL on our sites so people know about that. Finally, I have another thought that I'd really want to talk to you about. If you have parents in your classroom who are very giving, I would love for you to go to those parents and say, CK-12 would love or parents or teachers or whoever, adults, who can help mentor each student in the classroom. When I was learning with my kids about education in their classroom, I would sit down with each child, just helping, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Is there something you don't understand? That by itself went so far. So I would love for you to see if we can help create a mentoring program, which is again where you mentor a few hours, not more, in your local classroom, in your children's classroom, in the school that's the nearest in you, and help every student who needs help.
All right, Neeru, we want to be mindful of your time, so we have our final question here then. And is there anything that you wish more people knew about CK-12 or the issues that you're trying to solve?
When I was starting to work with the state of Virginia, and Governor Kane and Anish Chopra, the CTO at that time, were interested in creating physics books because their physics books had stopped at cathode ray tubes, and those factories were closed and people had lost their jobs, and you're still teaching the kids about cathode ray tubes. So they wanted to update their textbooks, and they had paid NASA millions of dollars to help do that, but they started using the CK-12 platform and created their own physics, new version of their physics textbook. But here's the problem. What we do is piecemeal education for kids. And so we don't remember that each kid's a unique learner or not learner, has their own individual pathways. They're not one size fits all. So one of the things is that we know that there is a continuum in learning. it's an additive process. You've got to do it for the foundational level. You've got to be able to, come at it at different places. So we created a concept map which connects the various things. We had math connected to math, algebra or whatever, and then we had science. But now recently, in the last couple of years, we've connected the science and math together. Very often the physics teacher will continue to keep giving a student the physics around it, not really understanding that maybe it's the math they don't understand. We can help them there. So these are capabilities of our platform. It is not just a platform where you have to come in and do a lot of work, as the impression or the image seems to be. It's a very easy to use platform. You can do it in any which way you want, as much work as you want. You don't have to customize it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Use it in your own way that you want to use it. So, that's one message I'd like to do. I wish more people knew that CK-12 wasn't somewhere that you go. It's where you have a whole lot of things where you have to pick things from, as you had to do for many of the OER organizations. Here, things are very contextualized. They are, aligned to the standards. They are aligned to your requirements. They can easily, each year, imagine each organization does their content, and at the end of the year, or a quarter or whatever semester, you all come together and say, okay, what worked, what didn't work? You can actually start having institutional memory. One of the teachers who was 28 years in teaching, who taught my first two kids, and she was phenomenal. She got me into education. And my third kid, she passed away. All the information she had went with her. CK-12 is here to help you institutionalize a lot of your memories, a lot of your learning, a lot of your what didn't work, what worked. So please remember that it's not just content. There's a lot more here to help you make your life easy.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Neeru, do you have a final thought that you want to share with all our live users out there from around the world here that are so interested in CK-12?
I'm so grateful. This year we had over 21 million people come in and use our website. Not all of them did what we want them to do, which is to use the various offerings. So in a way, all of you who listen to this, please, I encourage you to get hold of 5 to 10 of your colleagues and say, check it out. We'd love to help teachers. Please help us do that. That probably is your payback. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All righty. So sorry. This is when it goes on. We've had this issue today where we were wondering if we should put music before we play are at the start of the hour or not. So Lindsay's shaking her head no now, but we'd love to hear from you in the chat window. Do you like having a little music to know that your audio is working before the webinar begins or not? Just wanted to also mention to you, we've got Plix and Sims coming up this afternoon, and then tomorrow we've got Common Core Math, and then I'll be back in the afternoon with teaching strategies for using CK-12. So 2.5 more days of the Certified Educator Program left. Thanks again to Neeru for popping in and helping us understand kind of where CK-12 is going, and we look forward to doing more with you with CK-12.